it's Mando!
Ah, Mando!
A Mandalorian armorer has set me on my path.
But you're still running around here with the same little critter.
His name is Grogu. Wherever I go, he goes. Tell me where the Mandalorians are, and I'll walk out of here without killing you.
The Mandalorians are stronger together.
With the Darksaber restored to me, Mandalore will finally be within reach.
The Darksaber doesn't have power. The story does.
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
It's the only way.
Hello and welcome to Mandalorian Minute, a Who Watches podcast about the Disney Plus series The Mandalorian. I'm Travis Fishburne.
I am Alex Brunel.
And joining us this week is special guest Chance Ellison. Thank you.
Hello. Happy
Once
to be
again.
back.
Yeah. It's great having you as always. And yeah, we're going to be talking about the finale of season 3, chapter 24, The Return. We can talk about what the return was. I feel like the past 2 episodes have had episode
Turns out
titles.
there were no spies.
Yeah, they were kind of
no
misleading.
spies. The real spies are the friends we made along.
That's true. Yeah.
So
we got the return.
But maybe the spies were the dark troopers hanging out in the base.
Charles Parnell and the boys. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the closest thing.
Unless they're saving the spies for later.
Maybe.
Like how in I think was chapter 5 was the season 1 that was the gunslinger, right? And like
Yes,
the
that was the
gunslinger
guy.
was the guy with that. We didn't see him.
True. That is true.
Maybe the spies come later.
Yeah, maybe we'll get the spies in season 5 chapter.
Yeah, maybe.
That's true because they've done it this season where in episode 2 of this season where he loses the Darksaber, Bo picks it up, then they forget about it for 3 episodes, and then they're like, "Hey, remember that thing?
Oh, wait a minute.
That's canon now." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
The thing about the Darksaber in this season of the show, and which I'm in favor of just because of how convoluted it got, is it matters less and less every time it appears.
Yeah, that's
It's like of less and less consequence every time it arrives.
and I
on
don't
screen.
like that personally.
I know you don't like that.
No.
I'm just glad to be
I
done
want
with
to be
it.
in the timeline where like that one like bug suit creature got to rule Mandalore because he took down Din.
Yeah.
Djarin.
I'd watch that show.
Like what does he do when he has power over a planet?
Steals
I would watch
everyone's
that.
blood.
That would you know what? That would turn out like William Gibson's original draft of Alien 3, like on a wooden planet.
Yeah, let's do that. I want to see what happens when this guy gets powers.
I would love to watch that so much.
But yeah, this is the finale. This is chapter 24, The Return, and we finally get a wrap up of this, what I would consider to be kind of a sloppy season. It is
It's
not
a lesser season than the first 2.
Mm-hmm.
However, I will still say this is a really another solid season of television, and I think the last 2 episodes not been as good as they were, I think that, we could say like Mando's decline, but I mean, when I was watching this, like this episode hits harder, and I think I know who directed it, and then like the credits, Rick Famuyiwa, I'm like, that dude gets it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like,
he does.
With this show, that dude just gets it. I don't think he's done a bad episode of his show. Every single one he's done, every single episode, straight banger.
Yeah, he's one of the best, and he's part of the like circle of creatives and producers in this Lucasfilm television now, where he's there with Dave Filoni and with Jon Favreau, I think, helping to direct where the story goes.
Like, I would like to see Rick Famuyiwa get his own Star Wars show,
Mhm.
like where he just kind of like Deborah Chow did with Obi-Wan, where he gets to direct the whole thing.
Yeah.
I guess he did 3 episodes this season, and they were.
Wait, what
I mean-
was the third?
The third one was the opener, the Apostate.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just like, yeah, it's not bad. It's not great. It just didn't do a lot.
I forgot. Okay, in my defense, I forgot. I thought I only did the last 2. The point is,
No. But like you're not wrong. Like he's one of the series' best directors for sure. He doesn't make me roll my like. There's episodes where it finishes and it's like directed by Jon Favreau. I'm like, I know. But yeah, his episodes do shine pretty bright. And I'm excited to see what he does on Ahsoka too, because he's got.
Oh, is he?
He has one episode at least, I think, of Ahsoka.
Oh, nice.
They announced the directors of the show. This is the insane things they do now. They announce like these are the directors of the show and how many episodes they did as part of the hype.
I mean, for like film people, like that's really good because like I'm really excited for Skeleton Crew because the Daniels are doing an episode.
Sure, yeah, same.
And I have the someone. Oh, Kogonada for the Acolyte, who I love as a director. Definitely excited to see what his
yeah. I actually can't wait for the Acolyte. That's a really tantalizing prospect that I hope lives up to. I don't even have any expectations for it. I just want it to be something unexpected and good.
If it's like Russian Doll with Star Wars, then I'm down.
I am very down. That would be so great. Back to, I mean, I like this season wrap up. It was a nice wrap up. It was very much, it very much felt like 7 and 8 are kind of, just you could watch those as a single episode and not really be the worse off for it. I don't really feel like there needs to be an act break. It kind of just feels like one long thing.
Yeah, especially like when I was doing the rewatch and I skipped the previously on, it just starts off with
you just go
them running down the hallway like it's an extension of the previous episode.
More hallways. The volume is very good at hallways.
With the previously on this week, we were all like looking for the spies, jumping at shadows, and I was like, this previously on is telegraphing stuff. Oh, it's those guys who are on Mandalore. They're going to turn on them. And throughout this whole episode, it kept waiting. Like, when's it going to happen? It's
maybe they turn on them next season.
Yeah, like you just kept waiting.
Maybe they misspelled it. It's supposed to be the spice.
Yeah. Ooh, that's it.
Referring to a deleted scene wherein they cooked the dinner that they ate on the skiff and used the special Mandalorian spices that had been harvested from the crops.
The Star Wars TV shows have been a great culinary experience. We got glowy popsicles. We got that weird cereal from Andor, the blue noodles.
We have cereal in Star Wars now.
Disney's like, seriously, you need to do like a cooking with Star Wars show.
There's like multiple Chewbacca themed cookbooks for some reason. I don't know why Chewbacca is the cookbook mascot. Wookiee cookies. He's
the George Foreman of Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I think it must go back to like the Star Wars holiday special, and when Mala makes the bantha stew for Life Day, and there's that wonderful segment with that's Harvey Korman, right?
That one's Harvey Korman.
Yeah.
One of the many Harvey Kormans from the holiday special.
So burned into my brain. Anyway. I thought the music and cinematography again were getting good marks this week, just as good as just as good as episode 7. Dave Klein doing it. Dave, just round of applause for how good Dave Klein, coming from that guy shot Clerks.
Yeah,
that was the first thing he ever did.
Oh, was it really?
He's Kevin Smith's DP, and he was Kevin Smith's DP for so many of his movies.
The show, like the two like cinematographers I always take note of on it. I'm like, Dave Klein and Dean Cundy. One was shooting Jurassic Park while the other one was shooting Clerks in the same time.
That is true. That is totally true. So just round of applause for those guys. But yeah, this episode just opens up right back in the action. And I don't recall Axe like on his way just flying into space. In the last episode.
Got the image up right now.
He did fly out a hole.
So he flew out a hole. We just didn't see where he was going.
I didn't know.
So next we see him, he's just on his way to space.
Yeah. Yes. I'm like, they can do that?
I'm just like, wow. I didn't think there were oxygen hooked up to those helmets, but I guess there is. Sure, why not?
Yeah, I'm like it makes the air seal sound, so sure, plausible.
They can space now?
Yeah. And the thing for me was these jetpacks are really convenient. You know what I mean? Like there was they could never get back to that creature's lair because their jetpacks always ran out of fuel. But you have enough fuel to get into like to the
break
planet in the
atmosphere.
first place. Like he's been using it. It's not like he's refueled. So he's been using it and then go back up into space. And then he does a significant amount of more flying after, like, later in the episode. So it just they're very convenient jetpacks.
They are convenient. I've heard people speculate that perhaps the gravity on Mandalore is not quite as strong as the gravity on whatever planet that was with the dinosaur turtle. And so
That makes sense, actually.
That could very well be.
Which
I would buy
that
that.
would make sense. Like that.
That makes sense because like every planet in Star Wars, the gravity's always the same.
Yeah.
We never seen like a gravity play a factor into anything.
It
That
would
is
make sense
completely
that, like,
true. It's never occurred to me.
this whole you know,
Like, what are the odds that every planet we go to has the exact as gravity and the exact same amount of gravity?
it's true.
I guess it's just as likely as that the atmosphere is just as breathable for literally
For everybody,
everybody
doesn't
and
matter what
everything.
species you are. Anybody
Well, I
can
mean, I
be.
guess that's the difference between science fiction and space fantasy, right?
That's true.
And we're living in space fantasy and not so much science fiction.
Yeah.
A bit of both. It's a bit of both. It's a healthy
It is a
blend.
bit of both, but I mean, like, the thing is, anytime any conversation like that comes up in Star Wars, and my brain starts to go to that place, I just think the Death Star explodes, man. Like,
Yeah. That's the thing. Like when people try to bring up science in Star Wars, I'm just like, look, since like shit's been blowing up in space since
Yeah, it's fine.
1977, that like fire can't happen in space.
no, just it's Star Wars. It's Star Wars space. There's different physics there.
There's different rules.
So yeah, this is and yeah, the jetpacks, and then we have this the Dark Trooper fight continuing to happen with the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
And it occurred to me, just because I just saw John Wick 4, I know, Travis, you haven't, but you are familiar with the bulletproof suits that they wear.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all just running around, like, covering their face with the side of their suit. And it's really a lot like fighting these Dark Troopers, because you can only really go for the neck.
This is true.
There's also like a great tactical samurai battle kind of a thing in John Wick 4 that reminded me a lot of the Dark Trooper fights.
I think I know what you're talking about.
But just
it also occurred to me, like watching this episode, like, oh wait a minute, did they gentrify the Dark Troopers? Because the Dark
they
Troopers
kind of did though.
Looking a little brighter than they should be for Dark
They are.
Troopers.
Well, spoiler, they meant under the helmet, Dark Troopers.
They don't have Giancarlo's voice though, I noticed.
Oh, that's yeah. I
One
didn't
of
think
them
about
has
that.
one line. Like, one of them comes in and reports to Gideon, and it's definitely not Giancarlo.
But like, were those supposed to be? His clones?
That's
I guess
what we were kind of thinking.
you know what I mean.
But I wonder if these are just guys.
I think these
yeah,
ones.
I think these are just guys, and I think like his clones weren't ready yet because like
That's what it seems.
he
to
wanted
imply.
those T cells. He wanted the M count, the M cells.
Right, the M's. Right.
Because I'm not gonna say the word. He wanted those cells, so like okay, well now my boys are ready, and then I'll bring them out. So I think these are just dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was.
These are just
but
dudes.
last week he had said like that he was like in them, and I think a lot of people interpreted that as, oh, like all of his research and all of everything, all the work he put in was in them, and I took it literally. I was like, no, this is young Giancarlo. But
yeah, and if it wasn't for that one guy with one line, I would have been fine assuming that was what was going on inside those suits. But yeah, and then what's next? Is it the scene with Din struggling with the two, struggling to get free?
He gets them out, or he gets free, and then Grogu shows up in his IG-12 and helps out, and then sprays him with the Bacta spray.
This is very cute.
Yeah, this is
wonderful return of the no. And you gotta love a guy making his enemy use his flamethrower against his colleague. That was really great.
That's just insult to injury.
Yeah, that was just like really nasty. And I find it interesting like that these like this was pointed out in the Screen Crush video that I watched, but like all of the Mandalorian weapons are built into these Dark Trooper outfits. and all of those weapons were specifically designed to like fight Jedi. They just happen to also be good at fighting other Mandalorians. Yeah, so that's just kind of wild. Like, there's still kind of like, you know, these guys could go out and fight Jedi theoretically. Yeah.
They have the means to fight Jedi, but they have the ability that. That's
There's not enough Jedi to fight.
No, there's that one guy out there, but no one's
there's another.
Than him.
Did you watch Bad Batch?
I did watch Bad Batch. Yes.
Okay, so Gundy, is that Wookiee Jedi kid? Gungi. He's still alive.
Allegedly.
He's
so
still
far
around.
as we know.
As far as we know, he's still around.
There are a baffling number of Jedi that survived.
Like that, like that dude, Quinlan Voss.
Oh man, yeah, there were a lot of escaped.
Maybe Jedi Master Jar Jar with what the fuck is his name? I feel bad. Kelleran Beck.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I guess, you know, Luke obviously wasn't the only potential, just probably the most interesting story.
Ahsoka Tano, probably.
Yeah. Oh man,
Ezra.
I'm so excited. Ezra. It's got to be more. But it just like, but we just like, they just like keep happening. It's just like, oh, okay, that one survived too. Oh, okay. And now we're to like cutesy Clone Wars characters that survived, which is great. I'm in favor. That made me happy.
I still want justice for Master Tanube. Never found out what happened to that dude.
I mean,
Oh, you know, he was in one of the tanks.
He was in one of the tanks in Obi-Wan.
Oh,
Yeah.
so he knows.
What a shame. They got him anyway.
That was one of the best scenes in Obi-Wan.
That was a good scene.
That's a good scene. Anyway, yeah, fun scene.
Mm-hmm.
Din goes after Gideon. The rest just go to the surface.
Mm-hmm. Gideon is watching everybody on his map. They're like, "Hey, the Mandalorian got away. We only sent 2 guards with him." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll go take care of him myself."
That makes sense.
We said 2 guys. Thought you could handle this. I've tried to kill this guy like 3 times in the past with much more, but you know, it always gets away. 2 guys. You got
2
this.
guys.
Yeah. Don't you remember when he said he likes 4-to-1 odds? You gotta send at least 5.
Help us out.
At the very least 5, maybe more.
And he launches the TIE interceptors. You don't have a screenshot of this. I kind of wish you did, but there's a shot during this TIE interceptor launch where it appears the camera is mounted to the TIE fighter, and it's this shot as it's taking off out of the hangar. And I don't think we've seen a shot like that in Star Wars before.
No.
Have we? We haven't seen a camera mounted to the fighter.
I can think
right?
of.
No.
Maybe it's thinking like Rogue One or something. I think I'm
We've seen
like
a
a camera
few
pan
shots
shot like that, but
that are like, if it was a car, it would be mounted to like the side rear view mirror. Like we've had shots like that, but no, not
the side shot.
Yeah.
But we've never had like it mounted to the back of the fighter, and it was like there was rumble in the image as if it was a camera actually mounted to the thing. It was actually just like, I don't know why I liked it so much. I just really liked that. Yeah. We have R5's return coming up next.
Yeah, R5 is alive
R5's
still.
cameo character arc.
He has more of an arc than. Here's the thing. Than Din Djarin. R5 has had more screen time, and more to do in this season of The Mandalorian than R2 did throughout the entire sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
And this is a very R2 feeling scene. Yeah. I mean, like, I like watching this scene a lot because the way R5 moves and the way this whole scene looks and feels, it is like 100% Star Wars feeling in a way that is really pleasing. Like the mouse droid sings the same little tune that he sings in A New Hope. These kinds of details I just go nuts for. But he's just doing R2 stuff. He's got the R2 R2 jets. Yeah. He plugs in. He's just like more scared about it. I like when he looks over the precipice and contemplates
as if
falling.
He was like, I could fall, but then I can fly. So why? It's like Superman being afraid of heights.
Yeah. But So yeah, I can't say I don't like watching it. It just feels a little easy.
I also did like the setup of the whole the ray shield doors. It reminded me
Oh
of,
God, yeah,
of episode 1, because like
totally.
that. I don't love episode 1, but I do think that whole setup with the Darth, it reminded me like the Darth Maul, like when he's like stalking and like Kagan just sitting there like meditating. Like I got that kind of feel. It also felt kind of video game-ish. I don't mean that as an insult, but it's just like, you beat these dudes, and you got to take on these dudes, and you just keep sequentially going.
And as you do, you pick up new equipment along the way.
Totally. Yeah. I loved that scene. That was so cool. And yeah, like totally throwing back to episode 1 in the way that you can build tension in those moments in between the shields opening. And just done in such a freaking cool way here.
Yeah.
Just such badass fights. And that last one where he's just like screaming for R5 to open the thing, and R5 has to get rid of the little mouse droid by shocking him. And then like the firing just stops, the shield opens and there's smoke, and he just comes sliding in with the shield and the gun and takes one out and slams into the other one. It's so badass. Yeah, sorry. It's just so fun. There's other stuff that happens around this.
Yeah, there's other stuff. There's Axe.
Well, yeah, it's Axe evacuating
he shows up.
The command ship. And everyone else going to the surface. I don't know why he stays. I mean, I get why he stays behind, but also like, why? He could have very easily been killed during all this.
Yeah, it seems like a thing he could have just set up to happen.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, all right, guns are firing. They're on automatic. Great, awesome. I'm out of here.
Yeah, it was that was one of those things. Like, he shows up and he's like, everyone get out, because Bo-Katan needs our help. And the one guy's like, okay, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, go. Leave me alone on the bridge. And that's when I'm like, oh, here it comes. Axe is gonna turn on him, and he's gonna like fire on the ships as they all get aboard. And then did not happen.
Oh, you know what?
If Axe or that one like black Mandalorian that they hung on at the very end of the last episode, I'm just like, was he the spy?
No, and even during the rewatch, I watching this scene, I'm like, this still plays out really weird. How that goes down. It feels very suspicious.
Yeah, like why spend time on that moment?
Yeah, they're really setting it up.
My thought was that Axe had heard about the way that Paz Vizsla went out and was like, oh, he cannot have this glory. I must do something somehow bigger than Paz's sacrifice. By doing like his version of a Holdo maneuver. That's what I thought was going on until he did the last second bailout later.
What a bitch. All through, goddammit.
Yeah, and my note in this scene was this whole evacuating the ship goes like really smoothly, perfect outcome, good for them. That just seems so.
That seems to be like a lot of what happened, this season and this particular episode. Where I'm like, okay, straightforward. They do the battle and they win. Okay.
This goes well for them.
I'm happy for him. We get R5. He's surrounded by cops, and it's like,
which I thought these were messenger droids. Am I wrong?
That's what security? I thought too. No, like I thought.
I think I was wondering, like, what do mouse droids like? What's the purpose of mouse droids?
Yeah, I assumed once the one mouse droid saw him, I'm like, okay, now everyone's gonna know that there's this other droid there. But instead, he's like, he goes and gets his buddies, and he's like, let's go take.
We gotta beat this guy up. Electro punch me.
About to hand over his wallet and his shoes.
And then he takes the perfect escape, which is just leaving.
Yeah.
With his jets, just leaving.
I thought he was going to fight them all, but no, he takes off. One of them falls in the process.
We don't see a lot of droid on droid combat. Like we do lack that in Star Wars.
We do. It's unfortunate.
Barbaric, according to Solo.
L3.
L3.
I just rewatched Solo like last week, and I love the revolution they start just as happenstance of what they're doing. That's like that to me. That's like a great live action version of when R2 or when C-3PO accidentally introduces capitalism to the Lilliputians in Clone Wars.
Yeah. More Clint Howard droid fighting pits. They need the whole Clint Howard series.
More Clint Howard in Star Wars.
He could use the paycheck. Probably.
Totally could, and we could use the smiles.
That's true. Was he in the Willow show? I didn't watch Willow.
Ooh,
Oh, you
I
know,
did not
didn't
either.
but
I guess it's part of the problem. I guess this is why I got canceled.
oh boy, I'm glad they made it, but yeah, I still haven't taken the time. I never heard anything good. No, it does not seem like he was in Willow.
Oh,
What a
He
shame.
was in Pam and Tommy,
Oh, of course.
so he is working.
Good for Clint.
Yeah, happy for Clint.
But yeah, bring back the Clint droid fighting pits.
Yeah, obviously an underexplored story. Clint Howard's droid fighting pits: a Star Wars story. Where's that pitch?
Where is that? Where's that?
All right, what do we got?
and then we get them Grogu and Din inspect the cloning vats, and we see Giancarlo waking up.
I mean, I feel like that's like this like the perfect scenario for the real world. Like, we can't get enough of Giancarlo Esposito now. We just need to make more of him.
Mm-hmm.
Get him on every streaming service.
Yeah,
I agree. Every streamer should have their own Giancarlo.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just one doing the work for many streamers.
Yes. Like he needs to spread himself out, or else he's gonna wear himself too thin.
This is basically the plot of Multiplicity.
Yeah.
oh. You're gonna get one of the Giancarlos in. We're
Well, one of the
spitting on
clones has got to
bugs.
clone
Yeah.
themselves, and then we have to have the weirdo clone.
Like the clones just get dumber and dumber as they keep going down.
Well, if I remember the quote from Multiplicity, it is, you know how when you make a copy of a copy, it's
Copy.
not quite as sharp as, well, the original.
Yeah. But yeah, like I thought it was interesting because we always assumed that this was the plan to resurrect Palpatine, but like we never thought it'd be like, oh, Moff Gideon is just an egomaniac. Who
Right.
wants more of me.
Right.
You know
so
what? It was-
so what have we learned? Really, like I want to dissect and understand this. So it's that Gideon developed his own cloning thing as a
Mhm.
total. This is like a side stream to the whole Palpatine process entirely.
is.
Like
Yeah.
trying to get Grogu's midichlorians, doing all this had nothing to do
But the Emperor is all smokescreen.
with the Emperor or resurrecting the Empire, anything. It was always, I want to be a god that rules Mandalore. That was the only goal that was really ever in play here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe like
That's
start
a
with
written poll,
Mandalore
that
and
was
then the
it.
rest. But I do like that because, like, it feels like everything leading up to original trilogy and then post going into the sequels, and it's all about like, oh, we're serving the Empire and we're like serving Palpatine, and in some way, shape, or form, it's like Palpatine or
Sure.
Thrawn, or Thrawn serving the Emperor. And I love that there's a character who's like, no, what about me? I want to get mine. I want to be
Well, yeah,
the crazy Sith Lord guy.
Like in this sense, he kind of reminds me of Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards, where like
Mhm.
he's not so much evil, like he's not so much an Empire. Like Hans Landa in the movie, he's not so much a Nazi, more he's an opportunist.
Yes.
Or like Gideon, he sees like this power vacuum
Yeah.
in the Empire. He's like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna slide. Everyone's trying to bring back the Emperor. What if I just slide in there
Yeah.
and I become the Emperor?
Hans Landa and Inglourious Bastards, Littlefinger in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys who like aren't like they're evil, but their biggest allegiance is to themselves and first and foremost themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I do like that a lot. And I'd have to rewatch the whole season or kind of the show, maybe even the entire show, to kind of figure out if it was the show that was kind of telling us that this was part of the larger Snoke thing, or if it was us kind of.
I think it was us projecting it because like
it was us projecting it, right?
Yeah,
I
because
think it was the fan base projecting.
Yeah, because if you have like point A where it's like there's cloning stuff going on, and then like 30 years down the line, oh, there's like a whole bunch of Snoke clones and like Palpatine like resurrection, you're gonna like
You're gonna fill in the dot.
Yeah, from
It's not
point
like,
A to C, you're gonna be
it's-
like B is obviously this, and it's like no.
It's not
it
like
doesn't-
a Mephisto situation where we're just grasping at straws. Like, no, like, it's a very like organic thing
Yeah.
to think
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
case.
You think when Filoni the first time he saw or read what became the final version of Rise of Skywalker and he heard the line, somehow Palpatine returned, you think he just went because he knew that like that was going to be the next like 20 years of his work was defending that line?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very possible, but just he just gets he just walks in just like on a whiteboard, just like, oh, and the guy is like, hey, I got a job for you. She just cuts like a big ribbon, and then like that phrase just like on a whiteboard. There's check design for the next 20 years.
yeah. It was like in
Okay.
Revenge of the Sith when Anakin and Grievous meet, and Anakin's like, "You're shorter than I expected," and Dave Filoni has always been like, "And it's because of that one line. We had like a 7-season series, and two of the biggest characters could never meet each other because of that line."
Oh, that's true. They never met
Yeah.
in the show, did
No, they
No.
couldn't.
There's always, it's really funny watching the show and fully knowing that because there's some excuse every time that Anakin can't be like in the same place as Grievous. Like Anakin goes the other way on the path to get into the goal, and Obi-Wan encounters Grievous instead, and then
Mhm.
Grievous bails before anybody else meets him. And
That's hilarious. I never realized that, but like, oh yeah, no shit. They never did actually meet in the show.
it's really silly. This has got to be more annoying than that.
Oh
but-
yeah, this is
God.
bigger.
But we saw Snoke kind of clones in this show, didn't we? A couple like
In
did we-
season
They
2,
looked. We never got a good look.
no, we never
But
got
they
a good
look
look at what
weirdly
was in there.
shaped.
Yeah,
They did, but you could
Right.
also say like maybe like they were like the first attempts at cloning Moff Gideon. Like they didn't.
That's
come out.
true. That's true, and maybe that was part of the Snoke thing. Like that's how earlier versions of the thing come out. Just
here
they look
maybe
like squeezy bean people.
yeah, what happens? Because spoiler, the vats get exploded, and what could possibly happen is maybe somebody comes back and they dig up all these Moff Gideon clones and they're half burned, and they're like, all right, well, these are our
Yeah, these are
prototype Snokes, yeah.
But it's also like when you make pancakes, like the first pancake like always comes out like really wonky
is.
and weird.
Yes, I do.
So same thing here.
It's true.
Yeah, it's fun to nitpick Star Wars. The next scene is in the verdant underground of Mandalorian
Mm-hmm.
or Mandalore.
Yeah, this looks like a scene out of Lord of the Rings with the skinny Pete.
I really like how this scene looks.
Yeah,
Like, okay. I understand the importance of this scene. There's a lot going on here. The symbolism of like native Mandalorian vegetation growing in the soil of the planet that was thought to not be able to support life is a big deal. That is a big deal to show. But this scene is completely narratively useless. They go down there and like, this is going to be a great place to hold up for a little while. They have a
And then they
conversation.
immediately leave.
Yeah, they have a conversation that lasts a minute and a half, and then they're like, "Your reinforcements are on our way." Great, let's book it. And okay, I feel like there was a better narrative way on a script level to let us know that Mandalore was growing its own life.
Maybe you go there after the battle's over.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, we're like Charles Parnell. I can't remember his character's name. He comes up and he's just like, "Oh, before you, there's something I want you to see." And then he's like, "Oh yeah, look, we've been growing our own stuff. We
Yeah,
can rebuild."
and
also,
like that would have gone very nicely with the whole happy ending of this episode.
Yeah.
so this has happened twice to me. Charles Parnell is in these 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, and spoiler, it's not a spoiler, but like at the first episode of this season of Barry, he's in Barry.
I thought
I'm
the same
like,
thing.
yeah, I'm
Just
like, there
wait
he
a
is
minute.
again. I just saw this guy, and I was telling Alex, I never like followed up on this, but like the week that Tim Meadows was in The Mandalorian was this, like the next day I watched that episode of Poker Face with him, and I'm like,
Oh.
there's Tim Meadows again.
That was delightful.
Yeah.
It's that's like when you get like stalked by actors like that.
Yeah, it's like when Facebook listens to your conversations, but they cast people.
More of it. You know, I do you remember that show? Oh, what was it even called? Son of something. It was the premise was like I think it was a Lord and Miller show, and the premise was like, what if He-Man was your
Son
dad?
of Zorn.
Yeah, Son of Zorn.
Yeah.
And Tim Meadows was the kid's stepdad in the show, and Tim Meadows was honestly the only reason I watched that show. He was so good week after week as just like a minor supporting character that was worth watching an incredibly mediocre show. Lovely man. Anywho, this scene is
That's the season of what the fuck castings.
Yeah,
where like people pop up and you're like, what the hell are you doing here?
It's one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
There was like I remember I used to watch that show The Blacklist, and there was an episode where Tom Noonan was in it, and I'm like, I'm watching a primetime show with James Spader and Tom Noonan. Like, what the hell is going on? Same when Paul Rubens was a bad guy in it. Paul Rubens was like recurring in that. He might have even been in the same episode. Yeah.
What?
He was. That show was wild in the first 3 or so years.
Weird. All right.
Anyway, this is a different show we're talking
It
about.
is.
The flight of the Mandalorians then happens.
Flight of the
Mandalorians
Mandalorians.
descend from the sky and they take on the Dark Troopers.
We never see aerial combat like this. This was nice to see.
This is awesome.
Yeah, no, it's something that we saw a few times in the Clone Wars, but seeing it live action, really crazy.
You've seen it in Clone Wars. We saw it in Clone Wars, the Denny Tartakovsky version. But like never seen it like again to this scale.
No,
it's pretty sweet to see.
It looks so good. The effects are so good. I desperately need more aerial hammer combat.
Oh yeah.
In Star Wars, in any property, every action person take notes. Aerial hammer combat has to be the new thing. We got to make that like knife fights. I need to see more of this stuff.
It's like that. That's the new style of action. Like we had like quick cuts and shaky cam after Bourne. Then we had like long take after John Wick, and now we're going to aerial hammers.
So the next John Wick has to have him with a jetpack and some hammers.
Fighting with hammers.
Yeah, it's got Tom Cruise's free fall in the last Mission Impossible movie has to be a hammer fight. When he falls, the 4 miles back to Earth and pulls his parachute at the last possible second while wearing a camera and fighting a guy with a hammer the whole time. That's what I want.
So Alex watches Old Boy and he's like, you know what this scene really needed was a jetpack.
You've seen several jetpacks.
Exactly. That scene was only missing jetpacks.
Yeah. Less incest, more jetpacks.
Oh man. And yeah, the Darksaber in aerial combat also great. Thumbs up to that too.
Darksaber in any context, great.
Yeah, happy for Darksaber. Just man, the armorer is such a badass.
She's great. It's funny. I remember seeing like the whole like the thing with all the cast hyping up the fact that like the whole season's out and you watch the finale. And like Emily Swallow popped up. I'm like, who the fuck is that? So I never.
I don't know if I've ever seen her face. I should look at her face. I'm gonna do that right now. Oh, okay.
And the other thing is, she like the accent that she puts on, like that's not real. She has an American accent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a wild accent. I mean, like it seems like a very specific type of English accent.
The first time I heard it, I swore it was Elizabeth Banks because it sounded like her doing Effie Trinket from the Hunger Games.
Oh, sure, yeah, I could totally hear that. All right, what happens next? Din and Grogu enter Gideon's chambers.
Yep.
And then Gideon locks them in and opens the back door where he's standing. And please correct me if I'm wrong or it seemed like something else, but it seemed like that door leads exactly back to the hangar where they stood off with him before and where Din got kidnapped. Is that a different hangar?
I don't know.
I don't know if it's a different hangar.
I was not paying attention to the geography of that.
It very well could be the same hangar.
I think it was the same. I don't know, man. It just like I'm like, how many doors go to this big open space?
I mean, look.
I guess that makes sense.
Granted, the way the Empire designs things, like all their hallways look the same.
That is true.
So it very well could. All their hallways on their platforms look the same. So it very well could be a different hangar.
That's true. That's true. But Giancarlo is so great with his monologuing right here about smothering
goes
them before
crazy.
they had a chance to
He's
breathe.
like, all right, we're gonna go
like about
full
to
ham
cry.
on this one. Yeah.
Um,
It's just crazy how he's like ramped up the character over the past few seasons, where it's gone from like really subdued, almost, his Gus Fring style menace quality to in the season 1 to this, which is
He gets to cut loose.
Yeah.
At long last, he gets to cut loose.
I think it has to do with the armor that he's wearing.
Yeah.
I think once he puts on the beefier armor, he's like, I am a god now and I can do anything. I love this armor. I love that it sounds the way it does with you can hear every movement. It reminds me very much of movie robots in the 80s and 90s, specifically like Terminator and the good Bill and Ted robots from Bogus Journey. You can hear every step that those things make when they're in their like, skeletal robot form, and Gideon's suit sounds the same and it makes me happy.
Yeah.
Praetorian guards.
And the Praetorian
coming
guards
back
show
in.
up, and Mando's going to take them all, but it doesn't work out quite well. He's about to get Pazed. He's getting the Paz Vizsla treatment. And then in the midst of that, we get Grogu showing up Ellen Ripley style. He says, "Get away from them, you bitch."
Oh man.
I do wish it sucks that like, well, spoiler for the end of the episode where they like take away the IG-12 suit. I would love to see that come back, and he keeps getting more buttons.
Yeah. More buttons.
They just need to get him a little
more
a
attachments.
yak back. They need to get him just like a little a keychain that he has a bunch of buttons on. This is a really I do also lament the loss of the IG-12, but the bits of him hopping around and making baby noises while the Praetorian guards are just frustrated.
Yeah, it was really, I mean, it was delightful on one end, but it was also like, are these Praetorian guards really that incompetent? Like, it felt that
we never
way.
seen good Praetorian guard. Like, they're all really bad at their jobs.
They're pretty bad at their jobs.
They're
I
good
mean,
at
like, to
killing
be
Paz
fair,
Vizsla.
this is very baffling.
Yeah.
Like, in all your training, you're not training for like a thing that is like smaller than your head that is just moving faster than you can swing at it. I would be bewildered.
All my years of Praetorian guard training have prepared me to kill a baby.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know what that whole training program is like. Let's get a series of DVDs and find out. Let's call the 1-800 number for the Praetorian Guard.
We need the insanity version of Praetorian
Yes.
Guard.
The P90X Praetorian Guard DVD set.
And swing. And swing. And swing.
And we can confirm it never covers trying to fight
Never covers
something
hitting anything.
That's true. Never
You just
covers
swing.
hitting anything. Just stabbing. Stabbing works sometimes. What else happens? Bo-Katan zeroes in on exactly where Din is and like saves him.
Yeah. But watch this whole fight, I'm just like, isn't Moff Gideon like in his 60s? Like, this is like, I don't know if his armor's like really tough or
No, it's his armor. Like
bastards, but
his armor has got to be as I was saying, his armor's enhanced. Like that's like a mech suit.
Yeah, that makes sense because he talks about it being a upgraded Dark Trooper tech. So it's basically just moving him around.
Yeah,
just the suit's doing the work.
He's pretty much like Mandalorian Iron Man. I do think that. That's why it's making all that sound. That's how he can crush the Darksaber in someone else's hand. Also, gotta assume that Bo's hand is like done.
It's that's a fun
If he
concept.
crushed the thing inside her hand, I
That's
can't
true.
even imagine what the thing in between those two objects. What happened to that?
I like the idea.
By the way, I do want to know if like the entire Mandalorian, like I bet like she's like looking over her shoulder and like, no, nobody saw that, right? All right, cool.
Nobody saw the fact that the Darksaber got crushed.
But like nobody saw that I lost this thing again.
Yeah. Yeah, no one saw that. It just burned in the flames. It just didn't.
I dropped it, guys. I didn't lose the Darksaber a third time. I dropped it. We're all good there. No questions. No further questions.
No further questions. Trav, so what are your feelings on now that the Darksaber is done?
I mean, if it's done, that's fine. I feel like it was really mistreated throughout this season after it being such a big deal. And when it was introduced, it was a big deal. Like when I saw that, blade come out of that TIE fighter, I'm like, oh, like this is gonna, like, it was so exciting. I'm like, this makes sense, and this is gonna go in different directions. And the fact that Bo was all about getting it last season, and I'm like, and then Den wins it and gets it, and I'm like, this is all right. There's gonna be some high drama coming up, and there wasn't. And if that was going to be the show's like take and treatment of this from the get-go, I've been like, fine. But I feel like it was I think it was telegraphing as much as we were feeling this is like an important thing, and then it wasn't.
The way it was treated this season is way more Favreau in the storytelling than it is Filoni, for sure.
Yeah.
And that is unfortunate. But just the way it was treated, I was just glad to see it be gone and not have to be a convoluted, dumb thing anymore. Chance?
Now I got the mythosaur.
I mean, I do see the point. I do wish we had more Darksaber play. I feel like we only saw it get used like a few fights. Like one of the coolest weapons in Star Wars, like even by lightsaber standards, one of the coolest weapons.
Only used well in a couple fights. Yeah,
that's true. But like, yeah, like we never really got to see someone like really throw down with it since like the finale of season 2.
Yeah,
and a couple episodes of Book of Boba Fett, but even then, I do like the joke that Din kind of sucked at using it. But yeah, I would like to see more drama with the fact that like Din has to deal with the fact that like he's technically the ruler of a planet that he doesn't care about, and then you have someone else who cares about this thing who can't have it.
Right.
So I do think that like him losing on basically on a technicality, I think is a little okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would be sad to see like if this is the end of the Darksaber. I would be a little sad because again, it's like one of my favorite weapons in Star Wars. And
sure.
I do think that's a kind of a bad way for it to go out, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's ever really dead in Star Wars.
No, nothing.
Yeah, remember
that's why well, spoiler for Bad Batch. When what's his face? Tech bit the dust, just like, I don't believe you.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't buy that.
I don't.
I'm like, I believe it if one of you didn't literally explode in another show.
That is true.
Yeah, and remember in Empire Strikes Back, we just assumed like Luke lost his hand and that saber forever, and all of a sudden that comes back and is
somehow Luke's lightsaber returned.
A good story for another time. When's another time, Maz? When is another time?
That's what they need. The Maz Kanata streaming series, just called Another Time.
Yeah, another time a Star Wars story. Where how did you get that? Did you steal it? Thief?
I would watch that as like a live action or animated anthology series. A story for another time.
Make it like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead.
Yeah,
not just there for like all these like amazing events.
That's basically the Tag and Bink comics.
Yes,
I
would. That's unmined territory for Star Wars television that they need to get into. I think the Tag and Bink kind of stuff. What else? Oh yeah, so Grogu saves the day in the explosion city because Axe does the Holdo maneuver into the hole, basically.
I guess that's why he had to be there. He had to aim perfectly at this crevice.
Right, he had to perfectly align it to the little crevice and then jump out of the ship.
If he really wanted to do the Holdo thing, he would have sent it into light speed directly.
There's like a 0% chance he's dead, right?
Gideon? Yeah, I don't understand. He can't be, otherwise I feel like we would have seen a corpse. I feel like we would have seen a husk.
Again, like with Star Wars, just like you can't know somebody's dead until you actually, unless it's like a lightsaber impaling or a certain kind of blaster shot. You cannot assume somebody's dead. And even if they get shot in a certain way, walk it off. You're fine.
Yeah.
Get some metal abs, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. But like, he just gets like consumed by fire. We know Beskar's fireproof.
Right. So it would have had to get in there. I don't know. He could have survived.
I think there's like a 0% chance he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, the same reason like the Darksaber could come back is the reason Gideon could come back, because it's made of Beskar as well. I know that it got broken during battle, but you know, it can fix things.
They're tech people. They can fix.
Yeah, again, bringing up
Kyber's
Luke's lightsaber that got split in half in The Last Jedi, and then
that is
was
true.
Put back together.
That's true.
So
and
yeah, that all
ends. Grogu does a very cute thing and does a force bubble to protect them from the fire.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
Does a Sue Storm, and then after that,
wait. I just want to point out that I love that Grogu still gets like pooped when he uses the force really hard.
He does.
He like has to sit down.
I didn't have.
Oh, guys, that was a lot. Does anybody have some orange slices? But then
how do they not have like a Grogu like themed Gatorades? It's like, oh, you feel tired?
Oh yeah.
Hop back up, Grogu.
I'm surprised there haven't been like, or maybe there have. Are there blue macaroons that have Grogu on them on the package?
They did actually for Pottery Barn. They did it. They did the blue macaroons.
Okay, great. Goddamn macaroons. I actually hate macaroons. I meringue is a whole mouthfeel nightmare for me.
Yeah. But after this big action sequence, and we get, I feel like this season with this episode, I'm like, when it ended, I'm like, oh, there's still quite a bit left to go. And then we get as many endings as Return of the King. It feels like.
Yeah.
Because we get the baptism with
good old Pez Vizsla.
Ragnar. Oh yeah,
Ragnar. I assumed his name was Pez.
Yeah, they should have named him Pez. Little Pez dispenser. Vizsla. He finally gets his full baptism. Then Grogu.
Oh, they didn't finish his, did they?
No.
No, it got interrupted by the dinosaur turtle.
That's right.
Everyone's favorite Star Wars monster.
And then Grogu gets officially adopted.
This is a very sweet scene.
It is.
This was great. I like all the ending of this episode. I'm just gonna say, like, I like the way this ends, and I'll say what I think about it at the very end. But yeah, I like all this stuff.
Then he gets the name Din Grogu. So
I
guess like I heard them like, oh, so Mandalorians work like Chinese, like Chinese names.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know they don't.
Comes first.
Well, we know they don't because of Bo-Katan Kryze and Satine Kryze and the Vizsla clan. So like, we don't really understand. I don't understand why it's Din Grogu.
I didn't even think about that. Like, yeah, like, why is it Din Grogu? Shouldn't it just be like Grogu Jaren?
Yeah, wouldn't that be the thing? But maybe it has to do with the way the sect finds them, and Din is a prefix of, you know, the way they are brought in as foundlings.
Oh, maybe Din might not be his actual name. Like Din could,
right? Like his name is probably Jaren, and like because he was a foundling that became a Mandalorian rather than a bloodborne Mandalorian, he is Din Djarin instead of, maybe it's that. That would make sense.
But like, yeah, like my first thought, because I'm a big basketball fan, was Yao Ming, where it's like, you know, that goes Yao, not Ming.
Right. Michelle Yao too. I remember like when Crouching Tiger came out, I would see either Yao Michelle or you know, whatever. Or no, Ang Lee. That's what I mean when that came out. Because Michelle Yao is obviously her Americanized name.
Yeah. And then like the Korean directors like Bong Joon-ho. I've heard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jong Hu Bong, you know.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound nearly as cool.
No.
And it kind of implies that Grogu's gonna go be a little bounty hunter now. Like he has to go off on his adventures.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm here for it.
I still contend at the end one is not ideal for bounty hunting.
Totally agree.
Where are you gonna put somebody?
No, it's a very bad
Strap
ship
him
for
to
the purpose.
I'm just like, are you bound to like sit on your lap on you all the way to being dropped off? Like, how is it supposed to work?
It's the only way. That is the way.
That is the way.
Sitting on laps. And then does Grogu? What was your guys' read on this mythosaur thing? On this shot of the mythosaur in the show? Did it read to you like we were just being reminded that it was still there, or did it read to you that like Grogu was like force talking to the mythosaur?
For me, it was a reminder that it's still there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it could be interpreted either way, but I think it's just more of like, yeah, this is a.
Yeah, it kind of seemed to me like it's just reminding us like the mythosaur is here, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't fake.
Don't get it twisted. It wasn't a vision.
Or like maybe Grogu feels it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Is he
I don't know.
gonna take over the planet at some point?
It's gonna ride it.
I've seen that theory. I've seen that theory that like the Mandalorian of the show is actually going to be Grogu, and he is ultimately going to be like the leader of the Mandalorians, which is such a outlandish theory.
Yeah, like I mean,
The
at
show
that
would
point,
have to
we had a
last
question
like
of
100
Bo-Katan.
seasons.
She
for that time?
lost her planet to an empire, like an empire officer and a baby. Like,
Yeah, it would have to be like, you know, he gets the ability to speak and is immediately the most eloquent possible being. You know, just right out of the gate. But we'll see. We don't know how much time passes between this season and the next season.
we don't.
Anyway, we got a little bit. We got like what 1, 2, 3 more endings. We have 3 more endings.
Yeah, we get the lighting of the forges again.
Yep.
Bo-Katan lights the forge, and everyone's happy. This is,
For Mandalore.
For Mandalore.
Again, this I mean, along with the endings feeling like Return of the King-ish, this felt like very Lord of the Rings.
It did.
Yes.
That
It did,
particular
yeah.
scene. That particular scene did.
It did, yes.
The last one did too. Now I think
It
about
did.
it.
Yeah.
It did.
And then after that, we see Din. He goes and he visits our boy. What's his name?
Grief
Carson
Karga.
Teva.
Carson Teva. That's it.
Who did he go visit?
Carson
The
Teva.
pilot guy.
Carson Teva, that's right. Yeah. Game of Convenience.
Yeah.
He's like, hey,
I have expected Zeb Aurelius to
Mhm.
be in this team.
To still be here.
for sure.
Yeah.
He's too expensive. They already blew their
He's too
budget
expensive to animate.
on everything else in this episode.
This is like less of an ending scene and more of a scene setting up the next season,
It is.
wherein Din says, "So I want to just do off the books jobs for you."
Mm-hmm. So
You're gonna
I'm
do
tired
that,
of
right?
I'm tired of these big story arcs. I want to do more
More freak of the week
episodic
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, I want to do Adventure of the Week kind of stuff.
I want to go
next
back
year.
to season 1. What can you do for me?
I'm here for that.
Also,
know.
give me that head.
Also, give me that head up on the wall.
Yeah. Okay, one thing. That head. Don't ask questions, damn it. Just give me the head.
Then back on Navarro.
Yep.
I like the cute little scene with Grief here too, where he's like, "Some place to hang out in between adventures." And it's like, yes, have more adventures, have more plural adventures, and not just one kind of long adventure.
Yeah.
And the return of IG-11.
IG-11, the
As a
new
very
Marshall.
Marshall.
IG-11.
Yeah. And some proud Anzellans.
That is true.
That's nice. I like this. And then, so wait, also, I love that. So Grief actually used the term cabin in gifting Din this thing, this little house. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, so that is the Star Wars interpretation of the word cabin. Interesting. I want it. It looks
I
like
want to see the Star Wars interpretation of Cabin in the Woods. What does that look like?
Oh.
yeah, let's watch that. I can't wait. That has to get to a point where we're gonna get a Star Wars horror movie or TV show, right? Like that's gotta
That'd be
happen.
awesome.
It's
Yeah.
gotta happen.
It's I mean they've teased it. They've had episodes that are like go near that direction, but
They
yeah.
do, yeah. So I love this little ending with Din just hanging out on the porch while Grogu plays with a frog in the pond, and then it does a friggin' Disney little
Virus,
circle
yeah.
into him.
Like a cartoon.
Yeah. The music winks.
I had him to like take off the helmet to like lounge for a little bit, but then just like and then he did. I'm like, wow, this is the first season where Pedro Pascal didn't even have to show up to work.
No, not a single day.
Yep. And I'm sitting here and watching that, and I'm like, why wasn't this the end of the series? That shot could have been the end of the series. Why isn't this the end of the series? Like, obviously I want more of this stuff, but that just felt like such a nice button where it's just like, these guys are happy now. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Makes me feel like it's gonna end and they're not gonna be happy.
Yeah. I'm worried for that. I mean, like, I honestly just don't think
Like next season, good.
At this point, Grogu is not as much of a story, like as a method to drive story or character storytelling as he is a thing that needs to exist for merchandise. So I don't think that anything ever bad is going to happen to Grogu.
No,
quite
and
personally.
that was the thing is in this episode when he, shows up to save Din and he gets the Praetorians to follow him into the room, but he's like very distressed, and I'm like, part of me was like, oh, this is like concerning, but like
right
throughout the whole thing I'm like, but he's fine. Like I'm more concerned, I'm like, oh, how is he gonna get out of this? No, not like he's actually in trouble. It's how do they write the character out of this situation?
Totally. Yeah, that is the thing about this show since the first season. The first season, you're watching it, you felt those stakes because you really didn't know what was going to happen with that character. And then as soon as the show was a hit, and that thing was a hit, and everyone needed that toy for Christmas, it was all over. There are no stakes with that character at all anymore.
I think you could circumvent that. Again, depending on how long between this and the next season, you could circumvent that. Like,
true.
Let him be able to talk. Give him a personality.
Trure.
Make him a character. Give him some marks. Like, you can figure that out.
True.
Something I want next season. I want the return of that girl from episode 3 of season 1. Battle out Bo-Katan, the Mandalorian love triangle.
Yeah, I would be down for that.
Because
a nice little planet to hang out on.
They were vibing in that one episode, but they never
totally
came back.
Were.
Mm-hmm.
They totally
and
were.
Now people are doing the whole like Bo-Katan and Din Djarin thing. I'm just like, oh, could be some friction there. We don't know.
I don't want a Star Wars love triangle drama. That's actually something I'm not even a little bit.
You don't want the Star Wars Twilight show?
Only if it's Jar Jar in the triangle.
Ooh.
Only if Jar Jar is one of the 3 people.
Okay, we'll bring Caloran back. We'll make it a diamond.
Oh.
Okay, I'm in for that. So yeah, this is a fun season finale. I didn't think it was. This is a weaker season. This season feels very much in keeping with the Book of Boba Fett and less in keeping with season 1 and 2 of this same show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I agree.
Which is unfortunately not a compliment. But the cool parts of the storytelling were still very cool. I'm excited to see what the future holds for these characters and these stories and the whole overarching thing. Yeah. Do we know where Skeleton Crew fits in?
Timeline wise, I don't know. I would assume.
I know it's like in this particular sect of the timeline, just not sure where.
I would hope that as they release stuff, it is being released in a chronological way or in a way that is easy for people to make sense of things, because otherwise they've done so much skipping around with stuff.
Yeah.
And people who know, like, we know where stuff fits, but there's other people who just don't. Like I remember
the philosophy seems to be like animation is like Clone Wars and like right after Clone Wars era stuff. Live action, barring Obi-Wan, seems to Andor too. Barring Obi-Wan and Andor seems to be like, okay, yeah, we're going after the original trilogy, like in between section.
Yeah, but then we got Acolyte and
Acolyte's like way back, so like there's no rhyme or reason for it anymore.
Yeah, but I just remember like when Rogue One came out, people were confused and they were expecting the further stories of like Rey, Poe, and Finn, and it was like, oh, this takes place before that first movie, okay. And watching this season, because my son, he's watching the Clone Wars right now, and he's also watching this, and he was asking me questions like, oh, like this is because of that thing that happened with Tup the clone, and I'm like, No, that was like 30 years before this. He's like, oh, okay.
He's a bring at the whiteboard.
Yeah.
All right, take notes, son. You got a test tomorrow. Better
So
pass.
yeah, it's a weird, like, messy thing. I want it
like,
to
no,
be
it's the same thing,
streamlined.
like, because like my mom never watched Book of Boba Fett, and like my brother was asking like, she's like, does mom need to watch Book of Boba Fett before Mandalorian? Just like, well, it does resolve like the major cliffhanger in season 2, so yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's still such a weird choice to me. Like you resolve this in a completely different show.
Yeah, here's the ironic thing, Alex, is the Book of Boba Fett is more essential to watch before season 3 of The Mandalorian than the first 2 seasons of Picard are for Picard season 3.
Wait, for real?
Yeah.
Noted.
For real.
So I can just go into Picard season 3 and be fine.
Yes.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm telling people.
That's what I'm telling people.
Yeah. That's
funny.
All right. Good note.
But yeah, I think that's
Good note.
That's it for, I think, our feelings on this season, and we'll see when the show comes back. I hope that, it gets back to like the quality and the excitement that it had in the first season, where every episode had its own unique flavor, and it was adventure of the week, and there were stakes, and it was about Din and Grogu, and I think it's okay to bring in larger stories, which obviously it will, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Just want a little bit more. Yeah. So
Yeah. Is the next thing we get this year?
it's
Sorry. Is
Ahsoka.
it's
So
it's
isn't it?
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka in August.
Okay, and then it's Skeleton Crew
Then
after
Skeleton Crew. Yeah.
that. Okay.
And then don't know what next year is like. I'm assuming
I'm
after
assuming
that,
Acolyte's next year.
Acolyte would be sometime earlier next year, and then maybe
Probably
Andor.
Mando season
Yeah.
4. And then whatever is we're doing Boba Fett, we'll put him in there somewhere. Actually, Boba Fett probably comes back in the next season of Mandalorian.
That might happen, but for sure it would he would come back in the movie.
I'm calling it now. The first episode, Mando season 4, they're going to Tatooine, and that's what's Boba Fett and Cobb Vanth in his weird.
Oh
back
yeah,
tank.
they got to bring Cobb Vanth.
Oh yeah, we do need
We
that.
had that whole cliffhanger where it's just like, oh yeah, we're saving him. Thank God. I do like Timothy Oliphant. I like seeing him in things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want more Timothy Olyphant in Star Wars. Our friend Dustin does too.
I thought Cobb
big old
Vanth could come
fantasy
back and he could be the Marshal of Navarro, but they've already figured that out.
They already gave that job away.
Yeah. Given the the machines to robot, or given the jobs to robots.
That's affirmative action. I'm telling you.
That's that robot bar where the robots were the only robots that were ever afraid of being replaced by humans.
Yeah, that was actually an interesting concept, like a bar just for droids.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
That was actually that's pretty cool. What do droids drink?
They went over it in that episode.
Did they? I can't remember.
It's the what was it called? The it starts with a P. But it's a real word.
I'll
Nepenthe?
go back. I had somebody quick about the robot bar.
Nepenthe. That was it. Nepenthe. And it like is an oil that has healing properties for bad code or something. And
so what else? We need like a Cheers type of show, but it takes place in the robot bar.
Yes.
Just
okay. Nepenthe. The definition of the word is a potion used by the ancients to induce forgetfulness of pain or sorrow. So,
alcohol.
Like alcohol.
Give me all the Nepenthe.
Get my boy some Nepenthe, guys. Come on.
Yeah. So that'll be, well, I think next week, Alex, we're coming back. We're going to talk a little more Star Wars. Maybe talk this season, get some of Dustin's thoughts on the season, because we've not done that for a few weeks.
Yeah.
talk some other Star Wars stuff since we watched Bad Batch season 2. You recently went back. You took Jack's advice. You had to go back to Galaxy's Edge.
I did.
Nice.
Yes, it's been a different experience every time I've gone, just tonally, and this one was the weirdest one because it seems it seems like we've moved on so hard from the sequels, just in terms of what we currently identify as Star Wars and like but like that's our generation. I don't know how like kids are. Like I don't know if like they're still really attached to Rey and Finn and those characters. Like I don't know.
I think they're more attached to like the show, like specifically like what's going on in the streaming and television world.
And that's the weird thing is there's very little representation of this show in the park. You can buy Grogu and that's kind of like it. But yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Okay. So, well, until then, and until next time, Chance, where can people find you?
Twitter, Instagram at ChanceWars_91. Check out my show Notorious by Chance. This is a show where Russell and my partner Russell, we come and talk a movie every week. Our episode on Everything Everywhere All at Once just dropped this past Saturday, so you can go check that out. This Tuesday, Russell and I are going back to do a live stream where we go over like latest news stories and stuff like that, stuff of that nature, as well as our tier ranker of legacy sequels. We just did a whole legacy sequel month, and so we're gonna do a tier list of all the legacy sequels come out probably ever. We might miss a few, but mostly ever. And this coming Thursday, if you like football, we are doing a big stream for the first round of the NFL draft. It's going to be me and Mike Deacon, as well as a whole host of special guests. So yeah, if you like football, come stop on it.
Do it. Draft day. And Alex, how about you?
You can find me on Instagram at Alex Brunel, like it says down below my face. And my website is abrunel.com, where you can see the resume of stuff I've worked on. And please, WGA, resolve this contract issue so that jobs may flow once again.
Do that. You can find me at Travis Fishburne. You can find the show itself at Who Watches Pod. Who Watches Pod on Twitter, at Who Watches Podcast at gmail.com. Subscribe, like, review, comment, share, poke, all the things you do on the socials. I don't know. Interact somehow. It's all appreciated. And I forgot I have a soundboard here. And so until next week, initiate self-destruct sequencing.